While doing our playthrough of all the mods 3, I was going to build an energy storage room for the nuclear craft reactors. I ended up using Mekanism's trusty old Induction Matrix. Being out of the modded for a while, I decided to watch my old video about it, and I realized that it may be time for an updated tutorial. I feel that I'm better at making videos now than I was then, and honestly, I had some cringy phrases back then. So we're going to make a new one. So here we are in the mock-up energy storage room that I've made. The room is a 33 by 33 by 7. There's 33 wide, 33 length, and 7 high. It can house up to 16 separate induction matrices, and each matrix is a 4 by 4 by 5. Now each matrix has 4 induction ports on the bottom and 4 on the top, ingoing and outgoing. I went with 4 ports because of the basic providers only being able to import 8,000 RF per tick, and each of my reactors pushing 20,000 RF per tick. For a general rule, I always try to match the amount of providers with the amount of ports at the early level. If you're generating 20,000 RF per tick and only importing 8,000, then you're going to lose energy without a logic setup on your reactor. I've done the same on the bottom side of the induction matrix, as I will be outputting to 4 different wireless energy methods. Now let's start with the basics. To make an induction matrix, it needs to be a cuboid shape and can be up to 18 by 18 by 18 in size. The edges of the matrix must use induction casings, and all faces need to be either induction casings or ports. Now on the inside, you can fill it with induction providers, induction cells, or air. However, the inside blocks do not need to match in tier. This means you could use basic induction providers, but have advanced induction cells to increase your storage. Each provider would still input and output at their specified rate, but in this example you'd be able to store 1 giga RF instead of the 125 million RF per cell. In my example here, I have 4 ports on the top and 4 on the bottom, as I mentioned earlier. This means if I place 4 induction providers on the bottom, I will be able to output at a total of 32,000 RF per tick. I could, however, use 4 advanced induction providers on the input side of the matrix, and this would allow me to input at a total rate of 256,000 RF per tick, but it's really up to you on how you want to set up the internals. This is also useful if you have varying levels of power being generated. Say we have 4 reactors going from nuclear craft, generating varying levels of power. Reactor number 1 might make 20,000 RF per tick, Reactor 2 might make 18,000 RF per tick, Reactor 3 could be making a lowly 5,000, and Reactor 4 could be a pipsqueak making 3,000 RF per tick. These numbers are just made up for this specific example, but you'll see why here in a second. So let's go ahead and say we're using Mekanism's universal cables. We know that we should be able to condense this down into only 2 power lines. If we put reactor number 3 and 4 on a single power line, that's 8,000 RF per tick, so let's call this the 8K line. We could use an elite universal cable for this line. Now reactor number 1 and 2, we could put them on a different line, but together, because that's 38,000 RF per tick, and that falls under the 40,000 RF per tick for the ultimate cable, so we could use that as well. Let's go ahead and call this the 40K line. Now since we've condensed our power lines down from 4 to 2, this means that we only need 2 induction ports and 2 providers. So let's go ahead and make sure of this. We know that the basic induction provider can input 8,000 RF per tick, so we can use that for the 8K line. Meanwhile, the advanced induction provider can input up to 64,000 RF per tick, so we can use it for the 40K line. Let's go ahead and show this in an example. Let's pretend that these 2 energy cubes represent my reactors. This one here is the 40K line, and this one is the 8K line. We could get rid of the 2 induction ports and replace them with induction casings. Now let's set our providers on the inside. Make sure to match up the advanced provider with the 40K line and the basic induction provider with the 8K line. This also means that where the other 2 providers would have gone, we can replace them with induction cells so we can store even more power in our matrix. Now let's go ahead and bring your lines to the ports from your reactor, or energy cube, or generator, or whatever it may be. but you see that they will try to connect in this example. Just use your configurator to separate them. You can do the same thing using providers for the output if you have varying output needs in your base. That concludes this updated tutorial covering the Mekanism Induction Matrix. Thanks for checking out this tutorial. Check out some of my other tutorials by clicking on the card you see in the top right corner, and subscribe so you can catch all my tutorials as they release, along with my playthrough of all the mods 3.